Good morning, Miramar. It's Tamara G. I'm your host for today and every Wednesday. Don't forget, you can check us out on all of our social media at City of Miramar on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we all know it's right here in Miramar. And right now we have author Sharon St. John. She is the author of both a memoir and a novel on the topic of self-esteem, which obviously is very important any time of the year, but particularly during this time. That book is called Me, Myself, and Men. And then she also has another book called Issues. We're going to call that a work of fiction, although Sharon says a little bit of it is based on the truth. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But welcome to the show, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you and so happy to talk about this topic because I think it's something that a lot of people never want to admit to themselves about their own self-esteem and their own self-worth. Why did you decide to write this book?
Because I was struggling. I didn't realize how much me trying to find love and all that type, it all started with me. Like, I didn't realize that I really have to love myself before I try to go out there and try to get some guy to love me. And because I didn't have that self-love, I went through just the worst of the absolute worst. You know what I mean?
Right.
I accepted anything anybody gave me because I didn't have any standards. I didn't love myself enough. So I took whatever they gave me.
But did you know that at the time, Sharon? Because it's one thing to, be in it. And then of course, hindsight is always 2020. It's like, I should have stopped dating him 2 months after I met him. But, did you notice it? Did you know that that was what was happening?
No, I don't think I really noticed that was what was happening. I thought that, what everybody used to say about me from when I was younger, when people would say that I was ugly, I just thought that was it. That it had to be what, people was telling me. And that, when I looked in the mirror, I'm like, okay, I do see my teeth are crooked. I do see my head is, and so it was like, okay, maybe what everybody is saying is true. And that's why this guy doesn't love me. That, you know what I mean? So I didn't think it was, but when it kept happening with every situation that I tried to make into a relationship, or that's when I had to look like, okay, it's me. It's within me. I got to fix this.
Wow, that's amazing. So if you're just tuning in, we're speaking to author Sharon St. John. She has written 2 books, one of them, Me, Myself, and Men. It is both a memoir and a novel on the topic of self-esteem, which is so very important in this year alone, because people not only have felt things not go their way this year, the COVID, losing jobs, losing relationships, losing people in their lives, to where you could possibly think that it's all you, you're the problem. Is that how you see most folks are looking at things today, that they are the problem? Or is it, no, you're the problem? because that's another thing too. We have people that never want to admit that they're the problem. You have it both ways.
That is true. That makes it even harder when you have to deal with that type of person. But I think, with any relationship, it's 2 people bringing their own share of baggage to that union. Mm-hmm. But if you're more conscious of what you're bringing to the union, it makes it a lot easier. So with me now realizing that I had to love myself, I know my self-worth, I know my standard, I know what I'm going to take, I know what my deal breakers are before I enter into a relationship or try to enter into a relationship. So if I'm coming into it and I'm feeling whole about myself and the person that I'm trying to enter that relationship with, if they're not feeling whole within themselves, it's going to cause a breakdown of that union. Mm-hmm. So if everybody just, if you're coming together and I'm secure within myself and that person is secure within themselves, we're starting with a semi-solid foundation.
Okay.
But if the 2 people, go ahead.
No, go ahead. But if 2 people, go ahead.
If 2 people aren't secure within themselves and they're trying to build something, you're trying to build a relationship on sand. In essence, it's going to sink. It's going to fall.
So
And
the
it's
okay, so the question I was going to ask is, so now that you have your self-esteem in check, you know what you're worth, your self-worth, you know what you will and you won't accept. Then you meet someone who may be working on themselves. Would that be a deal breaker? Because in again today's world, you're not being able to meet people like we used to be able to meet people. It's most of
right.
the time online now. It's not, nobody's going to the club anymore.
Yeah.
We're out of that age group, number one, but also because of COVID, and you got to social distance from people, so that's not the way to meet people anymore. So if
No.
you were to meet someone and they weren't quite on the same level, is that something that would be a deal breaker? Is that something that says, you know what, I can't deal with this person at all?
No, I think that would be hypocritical of me to be that way, because I was someone who was struggling, and I wanted someone who's going to be there and be compassionate and um you know understand that, you know what, she's a good woman, she's just working through some issues. If I had someone that was patient enough to work through that with me, I could have built something with that person. So I would never say, oh, that person got issues, I'm not going. If they're showing me that they are willing to work on themselves and I'm gonna try to love you through it. I'm gonna try to help you through it as best as I possibly can. And I would never just turn my back on someone because they're trying to work through their issues, because I had issues that I had to work through. That would be hypocritical of me. I'm not that type of person. And I don't think anybody out there should be that way. If they genuinely see someone honestly just doing the work to become a better person, why not see them through that?
Okay.
And then some, and at that point, you know what, if you see them through it and that person develops into a stronger being and you just don't grow together, then you could just say it didn't work out. Not that someone was misusing you or mistreating you. It's just something that you grew apart, and there
Mhm.
shouldn't be any hard feelings when you do it that way.
Right. Well, that will require both of us to be mature adults. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Yes, that's true too.
Well,
Well, I'm
and
a mature adult, so I only know how to work from that angle.
amen. Amen. Well, you also mentioned issues, and that is the name of one of your books. We
Yeah.
are calling it a work of fiction. However, you said it's based a little bit on the truth. Tell us about it and the character in it.
Well, I have one. Okay, so you know the notion of when females they don't like to talk too much about tell their girlfriends too much about their man.
Hmm.
Don't tell your girlfriends too much about your man, because they might try to
Right. Right. I've
make you
heard
right,
that.
that type of thing. And so these three women in the book, they don't talk about their men, but they all have their own issues with self-esteem. They don't, they just don't feel like they're quite enough in the relationship. And the antagonistic character, male character in the book, um, he's able to hone in on each and every one of their shortcomings that make them feel special and loved. And so he gets into their soul
Hmm.
by pinpointing their weaknesses. And so he's able to, in essence, date all of them, and none of them know that they're dating the same man.
Wow. Well, all right. So all names have been changed to protect the innocent, Sharon. But is this based on someone, these women or the main male character? Are they based on anyone that you may know personally?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay.
But
All right. And of course, where can people find issues or Me, Myself, and Men? Where can they find the two books?
they're both on all online retailers. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books and Me. You can go on any online retailer and they're available.
Okay. I'd love to know what made you decide to start writing. Because I know a lot of people do it for therapy reasons. A lot of people are really good writers, so that's why they do it as well. But what made you decide one day, you know what, I'm not going to write just one book. I'm going to write two.
Well, well, Me, Myself, and Men, honestly, I started writing that with my first heartbreak at 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the old, the old black and white composition notebooks that when we was younger, you had to
Right.
do your penmanship in. I started writing that all the way, like every issue that I went through with trying to find love and trying to get this boy or this man boy to like me. I just would just write it down. And that's how Me, Myself, and Men came about. And I pray that I don't have to add any more chapters to that book.
Amen.
And as far as issues go, that pretty much, I was at work and I just started writing, and the characters just started to come to be. Like I just love doing. I was like, I love creating this story. I'm a good storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
more so than I am a great writer.
Right.
That's my thing. I'm a great storyteller, that I am a great writer.
Well, I can't wait to check out both of them. Me, Myself, and Men Issues. They're both by Sharon St. John. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Me, Myself, and Men, because I think this book, not only is it being called a memoir and a novel on the topic of self-esteem, but Me, Myself, and Men could go for a lot of women out here in this world, and what we will and won't accept to be loved. And what was it that made you, literally wake up one day and say, I'm not going to do this anymore?
Um, just continuous heartbreak. Like, how many times am I going to continue to put myself in this situation? It's like I keep meeting the same man in different shapes, sizes, and forms. So at that point, I had to just look at myself. I'm like, I'm the common denominator here. Let me see what's going on.
And
Let
what
me
type of man,
take,
and what type of man was that? If you care to share that.
for me, when I look at it, I had a pattern of dating mama's boys, the only boy. And I don't know whether they were spoiled. That everybody who I've dated has either been the only boy in their family or they was a mama's boy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was my pattern.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that made a difference in the man itself, but that was my pattern. I was attracting those guys, those type of men that would
And with
just,
that, what went along with that, as far as them being a mama's boy or being the only boy out of three sisters?
I think they were just, I don't know if they were spoiled or they were coddled or they was just, I don't know. I can't really say what their issue is, but I know with me trying to deal with them and having low self-esteem, I ended up falling right into that position of, well, like a substitute mama. Like,
Okay.
I'm doing all of this stuff for you. I just gotta do, and hope that you will give me the love that I'm looking for. I'm gonna keep, your mother wants to nurture you and give
Mm-hmm.
you and love you. And that was me. I would go into that thing and I would just love, 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 and give, give, give. And that moms love you unconditionally. And that was me doing that for someone who I didn't give birth to. And I didn't have to love you unconditionally when you was mistreating me. I didn't have to do that.
Right.
But because of my low self-esteem, I was doing it anyway, not knowing that you don't have to do this.
So then another question would be, or could that just be who Sharon St. John is? She's a giving and she's a loving person. So you're going to do that regardless of who it is. It could be your best friend. It could be, a coworker. It could be someone that you're involved with romantically. I don't know. I guess I'm asking that question. Did you think that maybe it really wasn't you? It really is them. That's the problem.
No, I think it was me in the sense that, like I said, I didn't realize that I did not have to take a lot of the stuff that they was giving. They were like spoiled children, and I just, I was rewarding bad behavior.
Okay.
When the man would cheat on me, or when he would hit me or anything like that, it was
Mhm.
okay. I have to forgive him. I have to let this go because I felt like I couldn't do any better. I couldn't get someone better. And so I just accepted it. And it was like, okay. And I just didn't realize that I did not have to stay there. I didn't have to take that. I didn't have to continuously subject myself to disrespect and, just emotionally neglectful behavior. Like I didn't have to subject myself to that.
Right. And I know too, with the holidays and everything, people, they also feel a certain way if they don't have someone, because that could be a self-esteem issue as well. Everybody else has somebody for New Year's, everybody else has somebody for Christmas, but that maybe they're not happy with who they have. Maybe they're just, faking the funk until they can do better. I guess my whole thing is I never look at other people's relationships or look at people and envious, because I don't know what's going on behind those closed doors.
Absolutely. You should never compare yourself to anything or anyone. People watch television and want to, see those happy couples, and that'll never work. Like you can't compare your situation. What works for me might not work for someone else. Mm-hmm. And as far as being alone, I'm single right now and I'm okay with it. I am so okay. It's going to sound selfish. And sometimes it's okay to be a little selfish, but I don't have to worry about what am I going to get this person for Christmas or what am I going to do for New Year's? Because if Sharon St. John wants to get up on New Year's and take a shower and put on new pajamas and get back in the bed, that's what's going to make Sharon happy that day. And that's all that matters. Right. When you're alone, make yourself happy. If I want to get out here and run like Forrest Gump and listen to my old school music, that's what Sharon wants to do that day, and she's going to be happy. Right. So if you're single on these holiday times, and stuff, do what makes you happy and don't worry about not having a partner to try to make you happy, because the happiness is from within. You make yourself happy and whoever's around you is going to pick up on that energy, and they either fall in line or they fall by the wayside.
And it's as simple as that, right, Sharon? Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you're talking about this and putting it into a book, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to see themselves in Me, Myself, and Men. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If they do see themselves, then obviously there is a way for them to get out of these destructive relationships. You don't have to stay. And I think that's, kind of what you're saying in a nutshell is do not stay. Do not stay in a relationship that is not making you happy.
No. Make yourself happy first. Know your deal breakers. I also have on my website, I have it's a small blog that I wrote regarding toxic people. And I believe that toxic people serve a purpose. When I believe that everything happens for a reason, people come into your life for a reason. And so those toxic people that came into my life, I started thinking, there was something I was supposed to learn from that person. Mm-hmm. There was something I was supposed to get from that person that's going to carry me on to my next level in life. So if I dealt with this person and it was an absolute nightmare situationships, I should say, there was something I was supposed to learn that I either should not take into the next relationship, or it taught me my deal breaker that I will never tolerate that again in my next situation. So I believe that toxic people serve their purpose in the sense that you either learn something about yourself that you can take to make you a better person and move forward in life. But you get that person out your life, of course. But the fact that this person was even able to enter your world, there was a reason for it.
And we also should note that a lot of toxic people, it isn't just in romantic relationships.
Yes, that's true.
It's neighbors, it's family members, it's friendships, girlfriends, co-workers. I mean, it doesn't just sit at you in a romantic relationship. That's not just where toxic people live. Yeah. They live everywhere.
That's true. That is definitely true.
Yeah. So, well, if people would love to check out the books, Me, Myself, and Men, or Issues, which again is a work of fiction based somewhat on a true life story, they can always find them online or at any bookstore. The author is Sharon St. John, author of both the memoir and novel on the topic of self esteem, Me, Myself, and Men. Also, tell us a little bit about your website and where people can find you and
Oh,
follow you.
it is SharonSt.John.author.com. And I have a little bit more in detail about myself. I actually have 2 book trailers on there. You check those out. They're very interesting. They give a little bit of insight into both books. So it's really cool. You can check that out.
All right, SharonSt.John.author.com. Check that out. Thank you so much for joining us today on Good Morning Miramar. We wish you much success. And 2021 is definitely going to be different for all of us.
I pray.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for watching Good Morning Miramar. I'm Tamara G. Until next time.